with the recently announced news of the new technical partnership between Haas and Toyota. It again sees the Japanese marque's name in Formula One. A name not seen at the pinnacle of open-wheel motorsport in 15 years when they unceremoniously dropped off of the grid at the end of 2009. But what happened to Toyota that made them leave F1, and what does this return with Haas mean for the future? Let's find out. After some success in rallying during the 90s and some attempts to compete at the top level of sports car racing at Le Mans, Toyota shifted its focus toward Formula One, with eyes on making a full entry to the grid in the early noughties. In the year 2000, their entry was greenlit and secured their place as the 12th team on the grid for the 2002 season. In what is still a relatively rare thing, Toyota decided to have their entry be a fully homegrown constructors' effort, rather than purchasing another team with a base in Cologne, Germany, rather than the area around Silverstone like most of the grid. Toyota's first year on the grid was a difficult one. Thanks to a crash at the first race of the season by Ralf Schumacher, scored points on debut. Despite the team having a huge budget for a fledgling entry, only managed to score 2 points in their first year, with the initial success not being replicated throughout the season. Salo and McNish were dropped for the following year, with Panis and Cristiano de Mata being signed to replace them. The car fared better in 2003, with several top 6 finishes over the year, with a 5th place being the highest. Nevertheless, Toyota took 16 points and ultimately finished 8th in the constructors' standings. 2005 marked a turning point for the team. Trulli, who had joined Toyota midway through the season in 2004, replacing Cristiano de Mata, took 2nd place in qualifying at the opening round of the season in Australia and stood on the middle step of the podium twice in the first 3 races. The season saw 3 more podium finishes and a first pole position for the team at the Japanese Grand Prix, with Ralf Schumacher setting the top time in qualifying, as well as Trulli lining up first for the infamous 2005 United States Grand Prix. This upturn in form saw Toyota having their best season of a constructor so far, with many hoping it was the beginning of better things for the team. In reality though, it was a momentary peak next to a series of valleys. 2005's success couldn't be replicated in 2006, with only 1 podium scored throughout the season at the 3rd race in Australia, a track that seems to suit their car every year. Mike Gascoigne, head of the technical department and the architect of 2005's success, was suspended from the team after the Grand Prix in Melbourne. The news came as a shock to the F1 world, seemingly out of nowhere, after the success of the previous year and landing a podium that weekend. Being dropped this early in the season seemed to be a strange choice. Gascoigne didn't speak publicly on the matter, though Toyota made a statement following the announcement, stating that there was a fundamental difference of opinion with regard to the technical operations. Gascoigne was evidently not a fan of the corporate nature in which Toyota was running its F1 operations and frequently butted heads with upper management, who in turn were unimpressed with the car produced for 2006 despite Australia's podium effort. This shift in technical direction ultimately didn't help Toyota. 2006 saw them struggling in the midfield once again, and 2007 was the team's worst year in Formula One since their debut, with a mere 13 points scored over the season, dropping them down to 8th in the constructors' standings once again. 2008 was an improvement for the team, especially over the nadir of the previous year. Ralf Schumacher was not retained, instead replaced with reigning GP2 champion Timo Glock, Trulli picked up points in 3 of the opening 4 races and once again stood on the podium at the French Grand Prix. Glock's rookie season in F1 got off to a difficult start. DNFs in the first 2 races and finished outside of the points when he did make it to the end. The Canadian Grand Prix saw him take 4th place, and a 2nd place in Hungary were the highlights of his season. By the end of the year, Toyota sat on 56 points and 5th in the constructors' standings. A notable improvement from where they were a year before, but still a far cry from where the team wanted to be. If you're enjoying the video, please consider giving it a like and hitting the subscribe button to see more F1 content like this. Trulli and Glock had made a strong start in 2009, with both drivers scoring points on all but one occasion, along with 3 podiums, a pole position, and the fastest lap. This strong start was followed by a tough European leg in the middle of the season, which was relatively formless by comparison. Trulli's 4th place finish in Turkey proved to be the only highlight. The end of the season proved to be a little better for the team, with Glock and Trulli taking 2nd place at the Singapore and Japanese Grand Prix respectively. Despite their mid-season struggles, this was still Toyota's best season since 2005. 2009 marked a major turning point for Toyota, in that it was the first time during their F1 program that the company suffered a financial loss. This loss, combined with poor to middling performances over the decade, despite the enormous budget that was being poured into the team, resulted in Toyota pulling the plug on their time in Formula One. The news was announced on November 4, 2009, and implemented with immediate effect. The financial crash that began in 2007 was in full swing by this point, so for Toyota, cutting the largely unsuccessful and incredibly expensive F1 project was an obvious decision for the company. This exit marked the beginning of a 15-year absence from Formula One for Toyota, though not motorsport as a whole, with their sports car and Le Mans aspirations once again being realized in 2011. In what has seemed to be one of the most unlikely and unexpected partnerships of recent memory, Toyota has made a shock return to Formula One as a technical partner of the struggling Haas team. The impetus for Haas to partner up is obvious. The team has struggled in recent years with a lack of resources, massively hindering the team. Ayao Komatsu's appointment as team principal has yielded many changes to the American outfit, including striking the deal with Toyota. Toyota's form in other motorsport disciplines over the past few years, WEC especially, has been outstanding, and their base of operations in Colonia is widely regarded to be one of the best. So, for Haas to be able to take advantage of these resources is a no-brainer. But what's in it for Toyota? They've already stated that they have no plans to return to F1 as a constructor or engine manufacturer. The obvious answer is that it's a stepping stone into F1 should they choose to make a full return. Formula One has changed dramatically since 2009 in every aspect, so to have experience with the current era would be invaluable should they make that leap. It's also being used as a way to get Toyota drivers experienced in Formula One cars. Part of the partnership is giving access to an older Haas car to Toyota so that they can evaluate and train drivers, with the ultimate goal of eventually setting up a young driver program to train the next generation. This also extends to Toyota's engineering personnel, now having the opportunity to liaise with a current F1 team and lend their expertise. The elephant in the room throughout all of this is Ferrari. Haas and the Italian team have had a close technical partnership since Haas's inception and provided a vast number of parts to the team, including the engine. It's been stated that there is no conflict between the 3 parties as of right now, But should Toyota wish to ramp things up in F1 or provide even more to Haas than they currently offer, then things may change. Haas and Toyota's partnership is kicking off immediately, with Toyota branding being on the car from the United States Grand Prix in October. There won't be any noticeable changes in performance at Haas for a while, but things are already ramping up in the background, with the new simulator being planned at the team's base. What do you think of the partnership between Toyota and Haas? Is it a sign of Haas finally getting the investment it needs and a positive step moving forward? Or would you like to see Toyota make a full return to Formula One after its disaster in the noughties and nearly 2 decades away? Let us know in the comments.